So I am picking up from an absurd chapter, this one Coincidence, Two Deja Vus by Douglas Coupland. A lot of meaningless human things, according to me, were said there. Show me how I'm wrong. In this chapter, we have deep time. And Alun Anderson said something very funny in this. I'm actually not going to read the whole thing, because I really want you to hear what I have to say. What he has to say about geology isn't interesting to this channel. Fuck it. That all of that sounds wrong, so let me just read it all. Alright, so Alun Anderson is a senior consultant and former editor-in-chief and publishing director of New Scientist. He's the author of the book After the Ice, Life, Death, and Geopolitics in the New Arctic. There is one simple and powerful idea that strikes me as both deep and beautiful in its own right, and as the mother of a suite of further elegant theories and explanations. The idea is that of deep time, that the Earth is extremely old and the life of our species on it has been extremely short. Well, this is what's going to make me laugh. When the idea first emerged, it stood against everything that was then believed. And it was to eventually change people's view of themselves as much as did the earlier discovery that the Earth revolves around the sun. I wrote, ha! Ha! That changed as much people's view of themselves as learning that we are brains almost 200 years ago. Literally, you say that as much as did the earlier discovery that the Earth revolves around the sun. The author 2 chapters before you said, we are important and what makes us valuable to the universe is our sentience. Are you not with me on this? Are you not feeling like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, eh? This just seems so absurd to me. I was watching a YouTube video the other day. You know Hank Green, this cool scientist, vulgarizer, or what do you say in English? In French, you say it's a vulgarizer, someone who shares science with the public, but it's not like a bad thing, it's a good thing. Anyway, you know, vulgar doesn't mean, ugh, you know, okay. I mean in French. I mean, it can, but... Okay, so he said that, we're the only species who knows that our brain is the thinking thing. Go get me a member of our species that knows that the brain is the thinking thing. Get me a member of our species that fully understands that if a person has an illness here, then there's no, like, soul to jump in and intervene. That there's only the other parts of the brain that could possibly intervene. That person better laugh at you if you ask them whether there's a heaven. They go, oh, how could there, I mean, if maybe there is a heaven, but we couldn't go there. Because we would need to take our brains out there, because that's how we think. We use our, I mean, it's not even, we use our brain. Yeah. If the person even has any sort of separation, if they say that they have a brain, what do you mean you have a brain? In fact, from now on, I'm going to start looking at people there. This is how I'm going to start looking at people. Okay? All this stuff, it's just limbs and shit that the brain's controlling and using to sense the world. You are there. That's you. I'm looking at you right now. That's you. Right now I'm looking at your eyes. And that's you. Hey, buddy. It's useful to look at your eyes to see where you're sending them. You know, whether you're pointing them at me, whether you're pointing them at something else. Some of that information can be kind of useful. Hopefully my brain will interpret it correctly. Hopefully I will interpret it correctly. Not I, will interpret it correctly. But, so yeah, I may try to get some information. But that's you, bro. I see you now. Can't see. You're in that thing, just like I'm in here. That's so funny. And you can see how meaningless it is to say I have a brain now. Look at me. Look at me. I'm right here. Look at me. Look at me. Imagine you can see through the skull that's between us, right? Because there's a skull between me and you, right? Okay? Okay, well, there's other stuff as well. There's your skull. There's electron repulsion. There's this camera. There's time. I live a lot of distance. I have no idea where you are right now. But right now, this is me. And through using these bad boys, using my eyes, this thing, I'm looking at your eyes, which you are using. So if you imagine, close these, and imagine me as a brain, and imagine me going, hey, I have a brain. You'd be like, huh? That's weird. I don't have an iris. So, my computer doesn't have a computer, does it? Right? My car has a computer. And usually when we talk about car, we are talking about the body often a lot more than whatever processor it may have inside of it. But that processor doesn't have a computer, right? That processor doesn't have a processor, right? Okay. So find me someone who knows how to talk as though they are this. That's hilarious to me. All right, no, we don't have time. I'm skipping this. Look, you should read about. All right, look, it's just talking about how we realize that the Earth isn't 6,000 years old, as then accepted biblical calculations had decreed. Okay, enormous shift in how we saw the world, and we being only the elite people that actually were wrapping their minds around this, not those other fools that were trying to execute them. It is for that reason that creationist and catastrophic theories of Earth's origins appeared more plausible. But Hutton had faith in what he saw in the rocks, exhorting others to open the book of nature and read in her records. I like that quote. His thinking about time created fertile ground for other grand theories. With huge spans of time available, imperceptibly slow processes could shape the natural world. Or we could think that, oh, actually, maybe this stuff happened by imperceptibly slow processes. We have all these spans of time. After Hutton came modern geology, then the theory of evolution to explain how new species slowly arose, and eventually a theory of the gradual movement of the continents themselves. All are grounded in deep time. Hutton's views were a huge challenge to religious orthodoxy, too, for when he wrote at the close of his book, it's a huge challenge to religious orthodoxy. Man, so glad that all that work dramatically changed people's view of themselves and of the world. Hutton's views were a huge challenge to religious orthodoxy, too, for when he wrote at the close of his book that we find no vestige of a beginning, no prospect of an end, he challenged the idea of both a creation and judgment day. So good thing everybody checked those ideas. Then he says, the beauty of his idea remains. If we look into the abyss of time, we may not grow giddy, like someone else had said in here in this chapter, and that he had quoted. But we can feel our own insignificance in the Earth's 4.6 billion year history and the significance of the precise moment in this vast span of time in which we live. So our own insignificance in the history of the world, and then, of course, the importance of this time, because out of all the moments, there's just this moment that, well, now it's gone, but... So that's so funny. If we look into the abyss of time, we may not grow giddy, but we can feel our own insignificance. Other dude who doesn't understand that he's brain at all is all like, oh my gosh, we are so important and valuable to the universe because we're so sentient and self-aware. What foolishness.